One of the most difficult things for English language learners to get correct is the use of phrasal verbs. And yet they're used in almost every English conversation. The reason is because they've got so many meanings, and sometimes it's really hard to guess what those meanings are. Well, don't worry, in today's lesson you're going to learn some of the most commonly used ones and also how to pronounce them like native English speakers would.
There's a free guide of all the phrasal verbs covered in this lesson, and you can download it by clicking the link in the description. But if you've already provided your email, this will be sent straight to your inbox.
Hi, I'm Steve. Let's do this. Check out this one, run into, and it's a really useful one to know because it can be used in lots of different ways. But let's start by learning how to pronounce it correctly. And we can join these two words together simply by moving the n from the end of run to the front of into. So run into becomes run into. And at normal speed, run into. You try, run into. A common use for run into is when you meet someone unexpectedly.
I ran into John at the shops.
You always seem to run into someone when you go out. You can also use run into when you crash into physical things. What happened to you?
My car ran into a tree.
Run into is perfect when you face an unexpected problem or other difficulties.
How's it going?
I think we might run into some issues with this project. Listen to this phrasal verb run into in action.
Guess who I ran into today at the supermarket?
I've no idea who.
Mrs. Potter, my old teacher.
Did you say hello?
Yes, she'd ran into a problem with her credit card and we chatted while they fixed it.
So remember, it doesn't matter if it's people, problems or objects, you can use the phrasal verb run into. Let's check out the next phrasal verb. It's cut through. And let's start by learning how to say it in a natural way. Because the first word cut ends in a t sound, a consonant sound, and the through starts with a t sound, we don't need to pronounce the first one. So cut through becomes cut through. And at a normal speed, cut through. It should sound like one word. You try, cut through. The first use of cut through is to move or go through something quickly and easily. If you want to go somewhere fast, you might cut through a park to save time.
Greek guy, how are you improving your English so fast?
I cut through all the nonsense and only watch Learn English Sound British videos.
Cut through can also mean to make an impact or to be noticed. Like this.
Steve's explanation of phrasal verbs really cut through the confusion I had.
Of course, cut through can also mean to slice something into two pieces. My new chainsaw will cut through the tree in a few minutes. Let's hear all the uses for cut through in one conversation. Oh no, I've cut my finger.
Quickly, let's get to the hospital. We can cut through the back streets to save time.
I hope there isn't a lot of paperwork to deal with when we get there.
I'm sure they'll cut through all that and fix your finger first.
Your English will really cut through when you start using phrasal verbs. The next phrasal verb is turn out is a great phrasal verb and it's used all the time by native English speakers who pronounce it as one word by moving the n from the end of turn to the front of the o of out. So turn out becomes turn out, turn out. And at a natural speed, turn out. You try. Try and make it sound like one word. Turn out. The first use of turn out is to mean it ended up that way. An example will make this clearer. I made my first cake today. How did it turn out? It turned out better than I thought it would. Or, I recorded my new song today.
Did it turn out okay?
Not really. You can also use turn out to mean attend or go to an event.
Will there be lots of people at the party?
Yes, I expect about 50 to turn out. If you make or produce something, like a product, then you can use turn out like this.
What does the new factory make?
They turn out hundreds of washing machines every week. Listen to the English phrasal verb turn out in action. Did you manage to buy a new house? Yes, it turned out getting a loan wasn't that difficult. Great. Are you having a housewarming party? Definitely. I expect lots of people to turn out for it. In that case, you should use a catering firm. I know one that turns out lovely sausage rolls. So whether it's about results, attending events, or producing things, turn out is a great phrasal verb to use. If you thought that was useful, wait until you hear the next one, which is take off. And this is really useful because it's got lots of different meanings. To say this in a natural, fast way, we can connect these two words together. And we do that by moving the k sound from the end of take to the front of the o in off. So take off becomes take off. And at a more natural speed, take off. It should sound like a single word. Take off. You try. Let's see all the ways that it can be used. First, it can be used to describe removing something.
I hope that's all you're going to take off.
It can also be used to leave quickly and suddenly. Are you enjoying the party?
Yes, but I'm going to take off. I've got to be in work early tomorrow.
A surprising use of the phrasal verb take off is to describe imitating someone.
Can you take off an American accent?
Well, I sorta can a little.
A business or a trend can take off when it becomes popular.
Will your YouTube channel ever take off?
I hope one day it will take off. And of course, when a plane leaves the ground, it takes off. You're home late.
Yes, my flight didn't take off on time, so I'm taking tomorrow off.
Sounds like a good decision. So shall we go to the cinema to see the latest Tom Cruise movie?
That sounds great. He takes off for a really evil character.
That's right. I've heard it's really taken off. So from planes to hats to movie stars. If you need a phrasal verb, use take off. You're going to be using that one a lot, but not as much as the next one is turn down. To say this in a fast, connected way, we need to blend the n sound from the end of turn to the d sound at the beginning of down. And the reason we can do this is because our tongue does roughly the same thing to make both sounds, the n and the d. If you just make those sounds yourself, you can feel your tongue go up, n, and down, d. So to say this naturally, start saying the n as your tongue goes up, and then as it starts to come down, then say the d. So turn down becomes turn down, turn down. You try, turn down. If you do it correctly, it should just sound like one word, turn down. Now you turn down something if you don't want it. Why didn't you accept the job offer?
I decided to turn down the offer because it wasn't really what I was looking for.
Turn down can also mean to make something quieter or not as strong. Can you turn down the air conditioner? I'm freezing. Now listen to both these uses for the phrasal verb turn down being used in one conversation.
I'm going to have to turn down the invitation to your party.
Why would you do that?
You always play your music too loud.
Don't worry, I'll turn it down. The next phrasal verb is turn in. And it has lots of different uses. First, let's learn to say it like native English speakers do, and they pronounce it as one word. And the way they do this is by moving the n from the end of turn to the I at the front of in. So turn in becomes turn-in. And at normal speed, turn in. You try. Try and make it sound like just one word. Turn in. The first meaning of turn in is used every day because it means to go to bed.
That was a really long day.
It certainly was. Shall we turn in?
Good idea. I feel like I could sleep for a week.
Another use is to change directions, especially if you're in a vehicle, and enter a place like a car park or a driveway. How do I get to the new shopping centre?
Drive along the main road, and when you see the signs, turn into the big car park.
You can also use turn in when you complete some work, like homework or a report, and then you give it to the person who is responsible for it. For example, you turn in your homework to the teacher, or you turn in a report to your boss.
Can we go out tonight?
Sorry, I need to finish my expenses claim. I need to turn it in tomorrow. Now let's look at a use for turn in that I hope you never have to use. Because if you turn someone in, it means you know they've done something wrong and you're going to tell the authorities about it. Like this.
I saw someone stealing from the corner shop.
What did you do?
I turned them in to the owner.
Turn in is really useful. Have a listen. I'm absolutely knackered. I think I'll turn in.
Lucky you. My class all turned in their reports to me today, so I have to mark them.
Good luck with that. Oh, by the way, did you hear about Sam? He punched his friend who turned him in to the police. So whether it's bedtime, handing in work, or reporting someone to the authorities, turn in is a great phrase to use. Check out this one. Put on. To say this in a natural way like a native English speaker would, simply move the t sound from the end of put to the front of the o in on. So put on becomes put on. And at a natural speed, put on. It should sound like one word. Put on. You try. And now we can say it in a natural way. Let's look at some ways that we can use it in everyday English conversations. First, English speakers often use put on when they're talking about wearing clothes.
Are you ready to go yet?
Hang on a minute, it's sunny outside. I'm just going to put on my hat. Or put on makeup.
When I was young, I used to put on lots of lipstick to try and look older.
Or even, you don't need to put on makeup. All you need is to put on a smile. A great use of put on is when you're organising an event or a show, like this.
We have to go to the school tonight.
The school, for what?
The children are going to put on a play.
Or like this.
It's my mum's birthday next week.
We should put on a special party for her. But we still haven't finished with put on yet, because it can also be used to describe getting fatter. If you've been eating a lot of biscuits, you might have put on weight.
I need to go on a diet before the wedding.
Me too. I think we've both put on some extra weight over the summer holiday. To put on can also mean to start a device, usually by using a switch. I fancy a cup of tea.
Okay, I'll put on the kettle.
Or,
I'm bored.
me too. Let's put on the TV. The last use of put on is perhaps the most unusual. And this is because it's used to describe when someone is faking something or pretending. Like an accent or an illness. They're putting it on.
Yes, of course, sir. If I may inquire, what in fact happened to Mr. Renfield in Transylvania?
That American actor is awful.
I know. I don't understand why he decided to put on an English accent. So put on is all about wearing, starting, organising, getting fat, or even pretending. You look nice. Did you put on a new dress?
I did, thanks. I wasn't sure it was going to fit because I put on some weight.
Where are you going?
I'm going to the theatre. They're putting on a Shakespeare play tonight.
Sounds posh. Just don't put on a posh accent yourself.
No promises.
Let's check out the next phrasal verb, take up. To say this in a natural way, move the k from the end of take and move it to the front of the up of up. So take up becomes take up. Take up. And at a natural speed, take up. Like one word. You try. Take up. Take up can be used to describe starting something, like a hobby or a habit.
When did you decide to take up smoking?
A few weeks ago.
You should stop and take up going to the gym instead.
Take up can also mean to use a lot of space or time. For example, a sofa might take up a lot of room, or a new pet might take up a lot of your time. We can also use take up when we accept an offer or a challenge. You might take up my offer of a lesson with me to improve your English. And if you want to take up this offer, check out the link in the description. Listen to take up in action.
I've decided to take up running. I could use a bit more exercise.
Running? Good for you. Just don't let it take up all your weekends.
No problem. I'll still have time to take up your offer of going shopping.
So take up is all about starting something new, using space or time, or accepting an offer. Check out this one, get over. And you hear this a lot in everyday English conversations. Let's start by learning how to say it in a fast, natural way. Because the first word in this phrase, get, ends in a consonant sound, that's a t sound, and the second word, over, starts with a vowel sound, we're going to move that t sound from get to the front of the O in over. So get over becomes get over. Get over. And at a natural speed, get over. You try. Get over. Now, one of the first meanings of get over is a physical action, and it means to successfully go across or past something. This is the Mersey Ferry, and I used to use this every day to get over the river to go to college. Get over the river. But that's just one use. It can also mean that you're moving on from a difficult or unpleasant situation. I heard you've been ill.
Yes, I've got a bad cold.
Well, I hope you get over it soon.
I'm sure I will, but what I won't get over is you owing me some money.
Another use for get over is for when something is difficult to accept. Imagine someone tells you some really bad news and you're struggling to deal with it. You might say, I just can't get over it.
Why are you so upset?
I've just heard that my parents are getting a divorce.
It might take some time, but you will get over it.
That was quite a workout, and if you include those phrasal verbs in your everyday English conversations, you'll really sound like a native speaker. For more practice, check out this video. I'll see you next time.